Hello there and welcome to this week's edition of Eye on Ports, brought to you by Star Assurance, UT Logistics, the Royal Bank and Ghana Community Network Services. It's a program we've designed to bring the port's activities closer to you and you also closer to the port. Now this week we are focusing our attention on the oil jetty. Now the oil jetty is where oil vessels like the one sitting right behind me comes to discharge oil for this country. Now the reason we are focusing on this subject is that if you look on my right hand side and also behind me, all those pipes and valves you are seeing, I can confirm to you that most of them are rotten and rusted, like this one here, and they belong to Tema Oil Refinery. Unlike those pipes and valves that belong to Tema Oil Refinery, that of Tema Lube Oil is well painted and looking clean. So we've been asking, why should TOR leave some of these pipes rusted and rotting? We'll be talking to the managing director of TOR in a very few minutes. In the meantime, the Port Authority is worried about this and they have visited the site to take a look at the leakages that are coming as a result of these rusted pipes. Some pipelines belonging to the Tema Oil Refinery TOR, which are located at the oil jetty of the port of Tema, have been abandoned without maintenance and replacement where appropriate. The dilapidated infrastructure is leading to leakages of petroleum products at the jetty, which can lead to massive explosion if not properly checked. The development has therefore heightened fears among the operators of the port, prompting a major inspection led by the fire and safety manager of the Tema port.
Most of the pipelines here managed by TOR, I'm not saying all, some are seriously rusted and they need to be changed. And mostly they use them in carrying fuel.
The fire and safety manager revealed that the pipelines have been abandoned without maintenance for several years, even though highly inflammable liquids like crude oil, LPG, gasoline, and other petroleum products are constantly transmitted through them.
They were transferring aviation fuel, and in the course of the transfer of the fuel, the weak links parted and high volumes of petroleum product was spilled all over. But they mend it normally with clamps. And until date, these clamps are still there. And intermittently, there will be leaks. And we don't know when they will really effect a change.
As far back as the year 2012, TOR conducted inspection on the pipes and valves and ordered their replacement. Also, some of the pipes were to be replaced by first quarter of 2015, as indicated on them by the inspection team. Yet till date, they have not been replaced nor refurbished, but continuously used to discharge crude oil and LPG.
They themselves have done inspection. I like that. And they have dates to affirm that they anticipated to do what change, but the change hadn't come. Per international best practices, if you've seen your pipelines in this corrosive state, you need not to use it.
It was on Good Friday year 2005 that a major explosion occurred in Tema Port. A vessel which had been at the PSC Tema shipyard for maintenance was engulfed by fire when it came into contact with oil spillage on the surface of the sea from a leaking pipeline belonging to TOR. Scores of people lost their lives, properties bent beyond recognition, and these buildings and parts of the Valco wharf were torn apart.
In 2005 incident, for instance, high volumes of hydrocarbons went into the sea, floated on the sea, and with the help of the wind direction, all went and locked around the dry dock area, where innocently someone was doing his hot work. Unfortunately, just a spark caused the whole of these facilities to get bent. We fear the second coming of this disaster.
The oil jetty in the Tema port is a national asset, being the only jetty which receives all hydrocarbons that enter the country. All the deplorable pipelines are located at the oil jetty, hence any disaster could have dire consequences for the country.
At this oil jetty, if there's any explosion or if there's any fire incident, this is just at the entrance of the port, and automatically we've shut the port.
Instances where spillages have occurred in the port as a result of rusted pipes have resulted in undesired consequences.
When we meet emergencies of leakages, we call them. All that they do is they will come and manage. If nothing is done on these tall pipelines, then we are just making mockery of ourselves.
Few months ago, the largest port in the world, Tianjin, exploded, leading to the loss of several lives and destruction of properties. The tragedy has been a wake-up call for port authorities to put in place preventive measures to avert similar incidents. Well, so as you may have heard in that piece there, the Port Authority is quite worried about this. The safety manager of the Tema port is much concerned about the leakages he's seen in the port because, folks, in 2005, there was significant explosion in the port that resulted in the deaths of about 30 people. Also, a lot of properties consumed and assets consumed. Also, just recently, we had the biggest port in the world, Tianjin port, got burnt out of explosion as a result of leakages and things like this. So they are worried. However, the Tema oil refinery says they are on top of the game. They've got a new boss, and he says he's fixing things. He's replacing some of those rusted valves and fixing those he can't replace. Why are your pipes and valves in that state?
Quite frankly, it's no secret that TOR has had several challenges, and these are not challenges that have occurred overnight. These are challenges that have resulted from a certain mindset and a certain attitude towards work and towards the refinery. And one of the first things that we've done since we came here was to do a full diagnostic on all the challenges of the company. If you just take one aspect of the pipelines, like you are rightfully doing because it's more with the port and so on and so forth, you may not drill down to the core of the problem. But to come back to the pipes, there's a lot of maintenance work that needs to be done on the jetty. There's a lot of maintenance and investment work that needs to be done on the pipelines. And the company has fallen back in terms of our infrastructure program, because as you can imagine, the capacity and the consumption of petroleum products in the country has gone up over the last 10 years. And there hasn't been any meaningful or significant investment in the past 10 years in terms of pipeline infrastructure and maintenance. We've come up with a program, and it goes back to the diagnosis of some of the challenges that we felt the company has. Okay. The first thing is that everybody sees TOR as a refinery. But when you do the diagnosis, there are about 4 businesses in the refinery. There's a refinery business, which we all know. The plant is there, bring in crude oil, process it out into refined products, and so on and so forth. That's a standalone business. There is a storage business, or a terminal business, where you can store petroleum products for yourself or for other third-party customers, like Boss does, like Fuel Trade or Chase, Tema Tank Farm, and all these other companies too. That in itself is a huge commercial opportunity, but because everybody looks at TOR as a refinery, has been left idle. As we speak, one of the challenges we have is 40% of our tanks are inactive. So just as you see a similar problem on the pipelines, you're seeing a similar problem on the tank side, because everybody is just refinery focused. The third business, which has to do with the pipelines that you're talking about, which we see in this whole setup and infrastructure, is a transmission business. Movement of petroleum products into the country and out of the country. Because if your refinery is working well, if your storage business is working well, if your terminal business is working well, then you should be able to be facilitating the smooth and efficient movement of petroleum products, either finished or semi-finished, into the country. Your plant can process them and you can store them, and on top of that, you can distribute them or have a proper interconnected system between all the tank farms within the Tema area. And that is one of the critical things about the transmission business that we're bringing along. And the fourth business we see in the refinery is a fuel trading business. Effectively, all these petrochemicals that we work with are traded commodities, and you need to have a proper structure that looks at that side of the business and not combine it with refining and storage and so on and so forth. Trading is more of a commercial or banking activity. And a critical thing that has changed is that workers are usually demanding salary. But in TOR, for this month, The workers came together and said, we understand the plan, we own it, we support it. And therefore, we are going to give up 1 month's salary to help the company's cash flow and to help us execute this plan together.
Isn't that to also tell that you have hit a crisis period? Where people or workers would have to give up their salary, although they have worked.
The fact is that we've hit a crisis period a long time ago. That's why the plant has been idle for most of this year. So the crisis is already there. But we've hit a turnaround point where everybody has realized that they have something to contribute to the solution.
And beyond a month salary sacrifice, what's happening on the ground? What's management doing?
Well, a number of things. So we have about 4 major things that we have to do. The first thing we had to do is to restructure the debt of the company because the company has quite a bit of debt. One of the major challenges we faced when we came in is that TOR hasn't had audited accounts since 2011. Wow. So it's a mess, but it's a mess that has a solution. Which solution is currently being implemented?
That also people have to take responsibility of. I mean, we haven't had audited account for the past 4 or 5 years as an institution as huge and pivotal as this, isn't it about time people take responsibility as well?
The board has made its intentions clear. It's setting up a committee to investigate a number of things that have gone wrong here.
I see.
Yeah. But I also want to emphasize that you don't want to focus too much on what has happened in the past. You really need to focus on the future because that is where your success lies. We cannot do anything about yesterday, but tomorrow and today, we can do something to make it better.
The last episode of Eye on Port we spoke with the railway company and they expressed grave concern. People, the MD and the board chairman were virtually on their knees begging for intervention because the railway lines are dead. If you have to put it that way. And people are also getting concerned that if we are not careful, just within a period of about 5-10 years, we are likely to see a company like TOR get to that level of the Railway Company Limited.
I can tell you that we're going to be back up and running potentially from February, latest March. I can tell you that by July, we'll be refining Jubilee crude in the country.
At what level?
We'll be back to 60,000 barrels a day. You know, we've done some refurbishment. We've built a second crude distillation unit. So we've gone from 45,000 barrels a day to 62,000 barrels a day as a capacity. I see. So there's a lot of positive things that had started to happen before I got here and that are continuing to happen since I've been here. In the next 4 to 5 months, we will be refining and processing petroleum products cheaper than anybody can import into the country. And that is a commitment, and that is based on a real plan.
A lot of people who know the current state of TOR would be wondering, where is he speaking from?
The plan that we've come up with does not require financing from the government. It's a function of leveraging our assets, leveraging goodwill that we've brought on board, to turn the fortunes of the company around.
And it does look like, fortunately, unlike a company like Railway Company Limited, you have some bit of assets you are in control of, don't you?
We have a lot of assets that we're in control of. I mean, the Tema Oil Refinery storage. I mean, just to help you put it in perspective, BOST has 356,000 metric tons of storage across the country. TOR has 750,000 tons of storage just in the Tema area. So if we're talking about a storage business, TOR is twice the size of BOST.
At the moment, what action are you taking on the state of those pipes right now? Because the Port Authority is also quite worried about the safety of the port.
We've had 3 companies come and have a look at it. And we are getting some bids and quotations going on because you can't, I'm not coming up with a figure of 150 million out of the sky. We've looked at it, we've looked at expanding. So, I mean, we have a 6-inch LPG pipeline.
Yeah.
It takes 2 days or 3 days to discharge a vessel. We're going to go up to either a 14 or a 16-inch LPG pipeline. That's what we are doing in 3 days, we'll do in 2 hours. So it's not just a function of repainting and
the existing
maintaining
ones.
the existing ones. It's a
You're
question
replacing
of
them.
building infrastructure.
But that's huge.
For the next 15
That's a lot of cost. And you might not be able to do this in the very short period of time.
We will. The fundamental maintenance works in terms of sandblasting, in terms of flushing and painting and all of that is going on, is about to get underway. I mean, I was so disappointed. It wasn't going on. One of the things that I mean, you've seen it. If you look at all the rust there, grease could have fixed that. Just simple greasing could have prevented a lot of the challenges.
Why wasn't that being done?
What happened in Tor before I get here, I will not be responsible for. The only excuse I can give is the mindset of everybody in this company is we are a refinery, and therefore we focus on our refinery assets. The major transformation we've brought here is, yes, you are a refinery, but you're also a transmission company, you're also a storage business, and there's a lot of trading you need to do around all these assets. So it may sound very simple because we are stating the obvious, but mentally, everybody only wants to see the flame going to show that the refinery is working. Yeah. But at the end of it, we're going to have a petroleum institute, because the amount of knowledge, skill, and technical expertise I have found here, nothing short of impressive. Very clever people, very motivated people, very knowledgeable people. But it's harnessing all of these things, aligning it in the right manner, and producing the commercial results and benefits that this country desperately needs.
What's the future, in the immediate future of Tor?
Immediate future of Tor is we are doing a revamp and a turnaround maintenance on the refinery. That's the first thing that we're doing. So that's ongoing. We've started spending money to deal with that. The second thing that we're doing is we're going ahead aggressively with the restructuring of the organization so that you have the right people in the right places with the right focus.
For how long should we have to wait for this?
So getting the tanks up to 15% is 3 months. Getting the refinery turnaround maintenance done is 3 months. Getting the transmission pipeline asset and all of that done is 3 months. Critically, we are getting ready to take over the existing CBM, SPM operations from Trafigura and make the full investment required to refurbish and to retool the entire petroleum transmission infrastructure. This week, we had to turn away some LPG vessels because of a faulty valve. This is what I mean by, and even though the valve was faulty, we were able to get a brand new one to replace it in less than a few hours because we've started our restocking program, etc., etc. It's a different Tor. If we were not ready, that valve that was so rusted you couldn't turn it open or turn it closed, would not have been able to discharge LPG. So we've noticed the must-have, and we're working on all those points.
Well, so Iron Port will be keeping our eyes on Mr. Kwame Ewuadako, the new boss of Tema Oil Refinery, because he promises there, as you listen to that interview, that he's going to replace all of these valves, those that are broken, those that are rusted to the folks there are working, the technical people at Tor are working on it. We hope that the leakages are going to end so that we all don't experience some of those disasters that every one of us is dreading. Iron Port returns pretty shortly after the break.
I've got no need to worry. I've got no room for doubt. No matter what's coming at me, you'll always be the beautiful I sing about. There ain't no limitations to your amazing grace. Your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. Let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you.
There's a place in my heart that makes me feel that you're the one. It's a place I wanna be, 'cause satisfaction guaranteed. From strength to strength you help me grow, 'cause you're there for me. And teach me how to be independent, 'cause you
The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank.
Banking with transparency, commitment to integrity.
Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank.
Royal Bank, real banking, real difference.
UT Logistics have come to stay. When you approach a job like the way we approach it, each job is unique. Each client is unique. We provide the best service in the system. We have best staff. We are very fast. We are quick, and we save customers a lot of money.
Welcome back from the break. News and activities happening in and around the port. Next.
As part of efforts to improve international trade, a new technology called Verified Mass System, VEMAS, has been introduced to transfer all information regarding the approved weight of containers from the point of transaction to the final recipient. VEMAS is a shipping message which contains the name of the shipper, the size and weight of the container and seal numbers, and the station where the container was weighed. The information is then transferred to all trade partners within the supply chain.
One quick advantage we can talk of is the speed with which information will be transferred from the point of transaction to the recipients. In the absence of that, then it means that somebody will have to carry that information by hand, right, from one place to the other. And you know, time is of essence in this process.
At a sensitization forum at GPHA, staff of Times and Computers Limited, who introduced VEMAS, schooled participants on how timely and accurately information can be shared with the new system.
What we have on the EDI messages in existence currently is an estimated gross mass. But here we are interested in the exact weight of the box, which is the verified gross mass.
VEMAS is free for players in the maritime industry and is expected to take effect on 1st July 2016 as part of the International Maritime Organization's guidelines regarding the verification of total weight of containers carrying cargo. A leading name in insurance and the best provider of marine services insurance in Ghana, Star Assurance, has organized a national insurance forum to bring together key players in the insurance industry to discuss how to build financial capacity in the insurance industry. The forum, which formed part of the 30th anniversary celebration of Star Assurance, was also aimed at discussing local content participation in the oil and gas sector in Ghana, as well as explore opportunities available to the insurance industry.
This edition therefore looks at building financial capacity for the insurance industry to be able to play an active role in the oil and gas sector in Ghana.
The managing director of Star Assurance, Kofi Dufo, noted that the insurance industry has contributed immensely towards the growth of the economy.
I am happy to state that over the last 5 years, the industry has seen quite a number of reforms and improvements, which has led to significant growth and has also made remarkable contribution to the economy of Ghana.
Star Assurance says it is positioning itself to take advantage of the oil and gas industry.
We should be able, as a company, to take giant steps to be able to underwrite all the risks that surrounds our oil and gas sector. And we think that at this forum, we are able to harness some of the opinions that were expressed to be able to build our capacity in terms of human capacity and in terms of financial resource capacity.
Star Assurance offers best insurance in marine policies and hope to spread its areas of operation in the near future.
I've got no need to worry. I've got no room for doubt. No matter what's coming at me, you'll always be the beautiful I sing about. There ain't no limitations to your amazing grace, your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. Let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you.
Banking with transparency, commitment to integrity. The Royal Bank, the Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank, real banking, real difference.
We've all heard stories about ports, about difficulties and challenges at the port. We think that to bring transparency to the port is very important for both the end consumers and even the people, some of the agents who work within the port. This program is very, very critical, and I think everybody who is involved in the port, in businesses that has impact on the port one way or the other, should make it a point to view it.
Schedules of vessels that are sitting in the port like this one that is discharging LPG, plus those coming from Anchorage and those expected for the coming week. And the Bank of Ghana approved exchange rates next on your screen. As always, your comments and queries are welcome via the addresses you see scrolling beneath the screen there. If you have any concern, you can always share them with us, and we will share them with the rest of the world. Please take a listen to some of them.
Samuel, a Ghanaian servant with the Ghana Armed Forces rights. I will respectfully like to be updated on the processes, procedures involved, and any help or priority given, if any, to personnel of the security services in the allocation and purchasing of an auction car or vehicle from the ports. Hello Samuel, please be informed that auctioning of unclaimed goods from the ports is the sole responsibility of Ghana Customs. They will fully educate you on how and when it is executed when you contact any custom office.
Also, Tor may be wobbling, but fortunately they've got management that's ready to work a lot of things out and get the entire company back on its feet. They are going to repair valves and also fixing rusted valves here and there. We wish them well. In the meantime, we'll be focusing on other companies that are also wobbling and are trying to find their feet, particularly those operating in and around the port. And the Volta Aluminium company, that's Valco, is probably going to be my next company that I will be visiting. Thank you for watching, and thanks to the entire crew, Robert Nyantechi, Joe Lavore, also Godwin Kabute, Paul Asariansa, the executive producer, and Goffred Kankam. Thank you for watching.